Okay, so for those of you that are new to the trainings, welcome. I record all of our training sessions so that other teachers that cannot be here at the time are able to then come back and watch them. So today we will be doing Google Docs. So if there's any questions, please, just type it in the chat or unmute yourself as I go along. So I will be so that you can see my presentation. So can everyone, I hope everyone can see that. Okay. So today we're going to learn a little bit about Google Docs and certain things that you might be familiar with and some things might be new to you. I ask that if you could just mute yourself so that we don't get any feedback. So I think everybody is muted now. Okay. So let me give you a little bit of the overview of what Google Docs is. So basically, it's a word processing platform. The great thing about it is that you can access Google Docs from anywhere at any time from any internet browser. You're able to collaborate and share viewing or editing privileges depending on how you share your document with others. The nice thing about Google Docs that is unlike Word, it auto saves and there's a revision history, so you can always go back and see any revisions that were made to your document. You can actually share the document with individuals or a group of people, and you can also even share a folder. Let's say you have various documents that you want to share with people, you can do that as well. Okay, and there's a lot of already made templates for you. If you don't want to design a template, you can actually search.
I'll pull you back later.
I'm sorry, is there a question? There's a lot of already made templates that Google Docs provides for you in case you want to use any of their made templates for any of the documents that you want to create. And I'll show you that further into the presentation. So what should you see if you're not familiar with the Google Doc interface user? I gave you here a diagram of everything that you will find whenever you open up a Google Docs document. So here you'll have your title. So obviously here it says Untitled because you then anytime you open up a Google Docs document, it's always going to become untitled unless you are opening up a document that you already created. Then over here, you will see the document name. But if this is a brand new document, this is the first time that you are opening it, then it will always show as untitled. And then you can change the name. Here, there's a little star. You would start this document if you want to add it to your starred documents. You can move it to a folder. This is your menu bar. Here you will always see like any changes that are automatically being done to your drive. This will be your toolbar. You can add comments to any Word document, and then this is how you would share your document. Okay, so if there's not a person there with a shared link on there, then that means the document is not being shared with anyone. You will also see this, which is the actual Google Docs home screen. Okay, So I wanted to, for those of you that are not too familiar with Google Docs, I wanted to let you know a little bit about what you see whenever you go or open up a Google Docs document. Okay. And then I also went into details about each of the things that you will find when you open. So there's an explanation of each of the little icons or things that you can do within your file. Okay. You can make a copy, you can download, especially if you have a Microsoft Word document and you bring it onto your Google Docs, or even if you want to make your Google Docs into a Microsoft Word document, you can do that. So you would just click the download as button, and then you can download it and you can make it a PDF, you can make it into a Docs, which is a Microsoft Word document. So let's say you have a shared or a collaborative document that you are doing with your students, and you can actually go here to the version history, and this will allow you to see who has made any changes to the document, who changed it, what they changed, what time they changed it. So the great thing about Google Docs, especially if you are working on a collaborative piece with your students or with other staff members, like you are sharing a document together, this version history allows you to go back and see, who changed what, when they changed it, how they changed it. And this is a great feature to make sure, that even all your students are contributing to the document. This is a great way to see, which of your students actually contributed more to the assignment. And then let's say you accidentally deleted something, you can actually go back and click the version history, and it will take you back to anything that you accidentally deleted. This is the nice thing about Microsoft, the Google Docs that you can't do in Microsoft Word. In Microsoft Word, if you lose power and, that's it, and it sometimes deletes your document. Sometimes you will be fortunate enough and it'll bring back the document, but if you make changes and didn't save it, like those changes will not be saved and you turned off that, your computer. So this is the one thing that I like about Google Docs, is that it's automatically always saving for you, and you can always go back to your version history and see any changes that you accidentally deleted and restore to an older version of the actual document. Where do you find the access? So if you see my picture here, you would go under File and then Version History. That's where you find it there. And then you can also, okay, I'll go into how to get into a new document in 1 second, Ms. Gianni. So you can publish your piece to a web if you would like to. And then here, the thing that is a little bit different than Microsoft Word. So in order to do your change any margins on your page or the layout, you would have to go to File and then Page Setup. And this is where you would be able to change your orientation on any page, on your page, your margins. You can add a background color and more. So that is where you would go if you wanted to change any of that on your Google Doc. Okay. So here's what you can do with your tools. Okay. I just wanted to explain what the interface, what you can do when you open the doc, and then I'm going to show you how to actually get onto a document. So with your tools, under tools, you have like, you would check for spelling. You can actually, your Google Docs, right? You can search for pictures, you can search for quotations, you can do so many things just by hitting the explore. And if you see, like, for those of you that are Mac users, I gave you the codes on here, the shortcuts to how to access this. You also have access to a dictionary. And the nice thing about Google Docs too is that there is voice typing, okay? So you can actually give Google Docs permission to access your microphone. And let's say you got injured, or for your ESL students, for them to practice speaking, or your level ones for them to practice English. This is a great way for them to practice speaking by actually speaking words into the document and using the voice typing option for them to practice their speaking. And then you have preferences. This is where you can automatically capitalize words, how you would want the document, with certain common actions in your document. Like, I want you to capitalize all of these words. So that's where you would go. And then in the menu option, in the insert menu options, this is where you would go to insert pictures or images, a table, a drawing, equations, okay? And to insert a header and page numbers. So this is where you would go in your Google Docs to the insert option if you want to insert any of these things to your document. So on your main doc toolbar, these are all the things that you will see. You have the undo, redo button, print, paint, zoom, like this, it's different styles of headings. You can create table of contents, headings, titles, headings. This will change how your headings for a document will look like. You also have options to change your font and the font size. Here, this is where you would have bold, italics, or underline. You also have options to change your font color and highlight tool. If you want to insert a link, so like how when I shared my document for my Google Chrome extensions, I actually just clicked this button of insert link, and I can actually go, highlight the word, link button, and then if you click the word, it will take you to the link that I want you to go to. So you can actually link to words if you don't want to actually put a full link on your document. You can add comments. This is great whenever you're providing feedback on a document with a student. You can actually highlight what it is that you want to comment on. Click this little icon here to add a comment for whatever it is that you wanted to comment on that the student wrote. And you have the alignment, insert image. This is where you would do the spacing. With Microsoft Word, sometimes it's a little bit easier to find, but once you get to know the toolbar, they're very, very similar. You can do increase or decrease the indentation, you can add bullets, and then there's the editing mode. Okay, so this would be your main doc toolbar. So how to create and upload a document. So Ms. Johnny, you were asking how do you actually get onto a Google Docs? So this is how you would do it to actually open up a Google document. There's various ways of going to a Google Doc, but the one way that I find easier, okay, is to open up Google. You would click your Google Apps, which is the little 6 little dots right next to your picture. To start a new document, you would go to your drive, click on create, and choose what type of document you want to create. Or you can click on the upload box next to the create and upload a file or folder. Let's say you have created a Microsoft Word document that you want to switch over to Docs. That is where you would go to upload that Microsoft Word document. The nice thing about it is that when you are in your drive for the Google Docs, it's easy to find documents when you go to your search bar and just easily type, one word from that document, and it will actually make recommendations and show you all the documents that have that word on it. And then you can also sort to filter your docs by last modified, last edited, or last opened. You can even search for documents that other teachers or people have shared with you. You can search through the person's name. So when you open up your Google Docs, okay, this is what you're going to find. Remember, I said that you can actually, they have templates here for you if you want to use one of their templates, or you can just start a new blank page. So you have the template gallery here if you would want to just look into what types of templates they have to offer you. You would just click that button there. But if you just want to start a blank old document, then all you would do is click here. So how to make a copy of Google Files, right? So whenever, maybe somebody sent you something and you want to make a copy of it, or you want to keep an original, or you want to make modifications, or you want to modify an assignment that you created on Google Docs, but you want to tweak it for your special needs students or your bilingual students, but you kind of want to use some of the similar questions or some of the similar assignments in that Google Doc. What you would do is you would do File, make a copy, and it would actually, you would get a small pop-up which would prompt you to name your new copy and give the option to organize it. You can organize it into one of your Google Drive folders or just leave it in your Google Drive. And then if you want to put it into a specific folder, it will give you that option as well. This is great feature if you want to have more than one copy of one specific document, especially for modifications, because then when you upload it to your Google Drive or your Google Classroom, sorry, to give it to your students, then this is where you would have the modified versions of the assignment without having to recreate it. To share your documents. So there's two types of settings when sharing your documents. There's the visibility setting. This is how people can access your document, and the sharing settings, who can edit or view your document. So this is very important, because if you share a document with people and don't change the settings to view only, then whoever it is that you are sharing the document with will be able to change the document on you. And then, there goes all your hard work. Let's say you are sharing Google Slides with someone, but you don't want them to change it at all. When you share the document, you need to make sure that you are sharing with them, but they document. Because if not, then they're editing your document. Unless you are sharing Google Slides with another teacher that you work with, and you want to collaborate on the Google Slides so that you both can have input, then you would share it in a sense where the teacher would also be able to edit, because you want to both be able to work on the document. So the 5 visibility options that Google gives you is private. That means only you are able to see this document and no one else. Public on the web, anyone on the web can see it. People in your organization, so our organization would be Newark Public Schools. People at my organization with a link, or anyone with a link. So those are the 5 ways that you can visibly have your document. And then the three forms of sharing would be owners, editors, and viewers. Often when I share the slides with you, I will make you a viewer of my slides so that you can't change the documents. But as a viewer, you're still able to make a copy of the slides. You can print the slides, you can download the slides, even as a viewer. It's the same thing goes for a Google Docs document. If I'm to share it with you, I can share it as a viewer, and you should be able to still view the document and print the document. You just wouldn't be able to edit. Because if I was to say, I allow you to edit, then you would be able to make changes on the document. And if I don't want anyone to make changes on the document, then I need to set it as a view-only document. Okay. When you collaborate, this is great if you have a Microsoft Word document that you want your students to collaborate on. So you would post it into their Google Classroom as a shared document. And then when you share your screen, the students are also able to open up the assignment on their end, and together they would be working on the same document with you at the same time. So that's the nice thing about the Google Docs if you want to do a real-time collaboration with your students. So the other nice thing about it is the chat feature. You can access this feature by clicking on viewer and begin messaging. And the insert comments, which is, I spoke about that earlier, where you would highlight the text you want to comment on and then click insert and then comment. With this feature, you can also reply to and resolve comments. So let's say I left the comment for a student. The student can go back and respond to my comment and resolve the issue. Like, let's say I told them to make sure you go back and proofread and have periods after every sentence. Then they can actually respond to my comment and then click resolve that they resolved the comment. Insert images. Okay. There's different ways you can get your images from. Right. So inside of your document, you would go to insert, click image. You can either select an image from your computer. If you have it saved on your computer, you can search the web. If there's images on your drive or your photos, by a URL or even a camera, you can take a picture to insert into your document. So basically, if you want to insert an image, again, you don't have to leave your Google Docs to actually insert an image from any of these options. You would select where you want to upload the image from, copy and paste the image onto your document, and then you have the options to resize your images by selecting and dragging the blue handles until you have the desired size, or you can actually crop it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Does anyone have questions so far? Stop me if there's anything that you have questions on. So here is, I gave you the two options of how to crop an image. So here's my image, and this is what you would see when you click the crop button. You get all these little marks around your images. So you double click the image you wish to edit, or you click on the crop button in the toolbar. So I just wanted to note that if you just click the image one time, it will give you the blue handlebars for resizing and moving. So if you just want to move the image, then you would just click it once. But if you actually want to crop the image, you need to double click in order to get the crop feature up. Because if not, then you're just able to move the image and make it smaller or bigger and not actually crop the image. So click and drag the black cropping bars on the corners and sides to crop your image to make it, let's say you just really want to focus on the little dog, then I would crop because I don't want the rest of the scene in the picture. And then you can select the area you wish to crop, then click enter on the keyboard or click the crop button on the toolbar to crop your image. So depending on what you want to do, maybe you want the full image with the full background, then you wouldn't hit the crop. You would just drag the image to make it smaller or bigger. So the nice thing about Google Docs too is that you have 3 different ways of how you can decide your image to show up in text, right? You can either do it in line with your text, have a break between your text, the top and the bottom, or you can wrap it around your picture. Okay, so I showed you here, you have an image of what a text wrap around your illustration or image looks like. So when you do a in line with the text, what will happen is you'll have a sentence at the top, you'll have your picture, and then between your picture and the top line of your text, there will be a big space, a big gap like you see here, and then you have the text again. If you want a break between your text, that means you would have a text or a sentence above your picture, nothing in between the picture, or it would just be the picture by itself, and then the text would continue after your image. If you are writing about a specific image, like for example, in the example I showed you here, I like the feature about wrapping the text around your image. It makes it look like a clean document. So whenever you insert a picture onto your Google Docs and you click it, it will actually, these options will show up for you, and you can just pick. Maybe you just want the picture by yourself, you know, because you have a title and then you have an image, then you wouldn't need to even click any of these features. You would just click enter and start typing your text. But I wanted to let you know that you have 3 ways of deciding how your text goes around your images. How to set up your page in Google Docs, okay? So whenever you want to change the margins, you want to change the, maybe you want it to be a certain color, or you want to make the page portrait instead of landscape, this is where you would go. You would hit File and then go to Page Setup. Okay. How to create columns in Google Docs. Okay, this is another feature that you can also do with Microsoft Word, but if you're in Docs, this is how you would do it. In your Google Docs, you would click on your format, and then you would click columns. If you don't have any text in your file, you won't see much happening, right? However, you will notice that there's a ruler at the top of the document that now shows the column breaks, okay? So this is where you would go if you actually want to add columns onto your document. So the other nice thing about Google Docs is that you can type in different columns. Oftentimes before, I used to just hit the enter button and keep pressing enter until I got to the next column, until I learned this step on how to actually go to the next column without doing that. So one of the options would be to press the enter key, and that's what I used to do. I just sit there and click enter, 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 enter until I got to the next column, because I didn't know any better. But you know, that takes such a long time. So the better option would be to follow these steps. So you put your cursor at the end of your text, you would click insert, menu, and then choose column break. So I showed you here. So over here, you would hit the break, hit column break, and now you can make changes to the column 1 without affecting the line spacing in the other columns. So this would be the easier way of getting to the next column or making changes in any of the columns without you messing up the text in the other columns. So how to use voice to text in Google Docs. So again, this is a nice feature for if you want to have kids practice their speaking skills for your ESL learner, ESL students or your ELLs, or even if you're hurt and you can't type or something happened, you can use the voice typing tool. So you would open a document in Google Docs, right? You would click Tools, Voice Typing, and then what's going to happen is you're going to have a microphone box appear. And when you're ready to speak, you would click the microphone. And then when you're done, you would click the microphone again. So the things that they recommend when using this feature is in order to have the most accurate typing is really to speak loudly and clearly. And because sometimes the dictation software can sometimes really pick up any speech in the room, it's often best either to put your headphones on or to work in a very quiet space. Usually it will actually make your speech come out more clearer. So this is another feature that you can use on Google Docs. If you're using the voice feature and you want to add certain punctuation to the documents, then you would click say period. If you want to add a period, comma, exclamation point, question mark, new line, or new paragraph. So depending on what you want to say or add, you can just actually say comma and it would add a comma to whatever it is that you're writing. How to cite sources in Google Docs. Again, you don't have to even leave your Google Docs to be able to do this. And this is a feature that you can also then teach the students whenever they're citing evidence. You can easily add footnote citations by using the Explorer tool in Docs. So basically, you would go to Tools, click Explore, okay? Or click on the Explore icon on the bottom right of your screen. Type in your search query to find the source. Hover over the result, then click on the quotations in the top right of the result. And then a footnote citation will be added to the bottom of your document. So basically, when you explore here, it searches the web for you, and then you can click and it will automatically add a footnote to your document without you even leaving. This would be more helpful for your older students, for like high school, if they're actually citing evidence from an actual document. I also wanted to give you some Google Doc shortcuts. I gave you the PC or Chromebook shortcuts and Mac, in case any of you are using your Mac for, during at home. Here's some more shortcuts. And then that's it as far as I have for Google Docs. So now you can ask me any questions about what it is that you didn't understand or need more clarification on. You can ask me.
Sylvia, I know with my situation, sometimes when I create a document in Google Docs, I will create it and I want to send it, I send it to all the students, but it all goes back to the issue about sharing. I would see that it would give me a hard time. I would click on it, then it says share, and then it says share the link. Then you see a link come up. And again, I think with what I'm seeing here now, I guess the best mode is when you set up the document,
Mhm.
That's, I guess you have, it seems like you have more control when you set up the document, because previous to that, I already set up the document, and then all of a sudden I see the little lock on the right, it's locked. And then I'm
Right.
saying to myself, gee, I don't want it locked. I want my student to see it. Then I click it, the
Mhm.
people come up, and then it has, do you want everybody to see it? And then, when you try to have it where you're saying to yourself, gee, is it the students? So I guess what I'm saying is the best method is when you go to set up every individual document, go back to what your notes are as far as who can view the document, because
Right.
it seems like when you already set up the document and you didn't do that, it
Mhm.
seems I had difficulty.
So,
Now,
and it also depends on how you, put it into your when you Google Classroom, when you add it to your Google Classroom.
right,
It depends if you want the students to view the document or just if you're doing Microsoft, or a Docs, I'm sorry, if you're using Google Docs and you want everybody to have a copy of the document, then you would need to make sure that you say, make a copy for every student.
well, that's what I typically do
Okay.
with all my forms, but I notice it seems like, when I do set it up,
Mhm.
when I did this, I didn't have that framework about the different drop downs as far as sharing, who can see it. So I went in, set it up, sent it to all the students to make a copy.
Mhm.
Then I noticed, gee, oh no, there's a lock. If there's a lock, they can't, even though I put down, make a copy for each student.
Right.
And then when I click it, and then it tells me, yeah, it says one person. So I make sure that no, I put all students because I'm saying make a copy to everyone. But then I would get a kickback and answer saying I can't edit the doc. The kids can't go in
Mhm.
because on the top that link, it still had the little lock versus the sharing component.
Yeah. So you see how mine, it says share
Yes.
on it. So I have it shared. See, with
See, that's
everybody here.
exactly the issue. In other words, okay, share with people in groups, and I don't. I just want it for the students, just the students in my class, instead of
Right.
the world.
Right. So you would click, you can hear, you see where it says, this is if you want editors and viewers can comment, right? So
Right,
if it's something in your Google Drive, you can
right.
actually do it like this. But if you're posting a link, you can change the link here. Anyone at Newark Public Schools can view the link, or you can say only anyone with the link can view it.
I see. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then you would have to change it. Do you want them to just view it, comment, or edit?
Hmm. Now, what do they mean, view, comment, and editor? So meaning editor, that still gives them rights to just make changes and add their changes in it, not so much editing my document.
No, that it would edit your document.
Oh, okay.
You
All
don't
right.
yeah. So when you make a copy for the students, they should be able to manipulate the document.
All right.
Okay. I mean, like, play around with you know your sharing options, but I've never had the issue of me, whenever I share it with people, like, I've never had that issue of them not being able to.
Hmm. And I think but you know why? I think it comes back to what I noticed,
Mhm.
how I set it up. I think the key thing is setting it up prior, who's going to be in the audience, and that's what then you are not going to have an issue, because
Right,
all the kids will get a copy, and then you'll always see where it says share.
right.
Whereas I noticed I didn't see that area of what you showed today,
Hmm.
showing that. So that gave me clarity that I'm just going to look at it more diligently as far as when I set up the document, then, that shouldn't give me an issue. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Yeah, no problem. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I just sent, it's been the best way to start a Google document. Oh, okay, because like, this was great, except for I still don't know where to begin.
Okay, so let
So,
me show you. Yeah,
Okay,
no problem. Okay. I mean, this is what. Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Could hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, I think my internet went out. Sorry, it happens. Technology. Okay. So let me just mute you guys. Okay. So Miss Gianni, this is what you would do if you are going to start a new Google document, right? So you would open up Google, okay? Then you can either go to Google Docs like this, right? You can do it this way, or the easiest way that I find is when I open up Google, I would click the Google Docs apps, right? And then it's gonna show me all of the things that I can do in Google. These are all my apps that I have for Google, okay? So I would click the Docs. And then it's gonna take me here to this screen, okay? On the bottom, you will see any of the Google Docs that I already have, which is a lot. And this is where you can sort if you want to look for any of the Google Docs that you have in your already created. Here, it would list by the recent, okay? It all depends on how you want to view if you're searching. But if you want to start a brand new document, then you would just click here, blank.
so what you're saying is I could type in docs.google/com and then click whatever else that you clicked that I didn't see. Or I can go,
So when you open up a new tab, right? When you open up Google, the easiest way for me is just to open up Google, click the apps, okay? Do you see that?
yeah, I saw the 9 button dots.
And then you
And
click
then go to
Docs.
docs.
And then,
And this will be, and then you add the plus, and this will be just like a Word page.
it would be just like a Microsoft Word page.
But I think it's important too to understand, it's very important to open it up with your school email. And the best way, so I can be mindful of it, is I go to Newark Public Schools website and then I see the icon for Google. So that just in case you're working on a document, you figure out that it's your Gmail or, something like that. I mean, that's my.
But what if you want to, if you want to do it in your own email, then you wouldn't go to Newark Public Schools, right? You'd have to
Right.
do it this way.
Yes.
Yes.
But you can always So Miss Johnny, let's say you have your own personal Gmail, you can always share whatever documents you are doing in your personal Gmail to your NPS. When you would click, so let's say here, when I click share, right?
Right.
I have to name the document. So let me just name it, right? But when I click to share, I would type in the email of who I want to share it with. So let's say this is my my work email. I can actually, I would add my work email here if I was doing it on my personal computer.
Okay.
If I want to share a document that I did on my personal Gmail to my work. Okay. So that's
Thank you.
no problem. So this is, I mean, Google Docs is really not very complicated to work with. Basically, it's almost like your Microsoft Word, but it has, you know, the added features of automatically saving for you. Here is where you have, you know, your comments, any comments you've made. Here is where you would go if you want to see any edits that were made or view history for this file. Okay.
So is there a default save? Like if you didn't remember to, I mean, or share, is there, like if you didn't remember to do all the other stuff that you told us at the beginning, does it default to a certain share? Does it default to a certain prompt?
So it would automatically be private. The
Okay.
document is always private. It would only, you will only have access to a document if you actually share the document. If you never share it, this document is solely yours and no one else's.
It doesn't end up in the cloud or something?
It ends up in your Google Drive. It will always automatically be saved to your Google Drive. It has to
So
save
if-
somewhere.
So if anybody has access to your Google Drive, then they would have access to this.
Yes, but I wouldn't give out my Google Drive, you know, my password to get onto my Google Drive. That's the only. And
But doesn't isn't our Google, like if I opened up my Google now, all my documents that are in there, can't anybody see them?
no, I can't see. I can't see your Google documents. So some people, like a teacher said that she prefers working on Word and then saving it to the Google Drive. Yes, you can actually do that. So if I was to open up, I can open up, let's say I want to open up a file, right? That is a Microsoft Word document. I would do this. So I would go to File. Right, let me do that again for anyone that didn't see it. So if I want to open up a so some people feel that they like Microsoft Word better, but you want to transfer it over to a Google Doc, you would do File, Open. You would do Upload because you want to upload from a file on your device. Select the file, and then I search my documents. Let's say I want, this is a Microsoft Word document, as you can see. I click Open. It's going to upload the document. Okay. And then it will show as a Microsoft, it will no longer be a Microsoft Word document. It is now a Google Docs. And it will be automatically saved to my Google Drive.
Now, see, that's what I did the other day, but I tried to share it and it wouldn't let me share it.
So after,
In the bottom, someplace in the screen, it said down, well, I saw it, but I couldn't figure out how to get the other person to see it.
So after I upload a Microsoft Word document and make it a Google Docs, I would click share. And then I have to type the person's name. So let's say I want to send it to you. Or let's say I want to send it to this teacher here, right? Here is where I pick. Do I want them to edit, comment, or view? I want them to be able to edit the document, right? Especially if you are having them work on this document because you want them to do writing prompt. It's a writing prompt. You want them to be able to edit the document. And then you would click send, and the teacher will get a notification in their email saying that I shared this document with them. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but what I was doing the other day was I started my own folder, and like you did,
Mhm.
where you shared the attendance with
Okay.
us.
Okay.
So I was trying to share a document that way, but there's a bottom part on the right hand that said, I don't remember what the word was, but upload or not upload. I don't know. It wouldn't let me post it.
Yeah, so maybe you can do a screenshot of what it is that you're seeing or getting, and
I
I
don't
will.
know how to do that either. I only know Word. I'm good at Word.
I showed you the other day.
I know, but that's beyond my comprehension at this point. But I'll try. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because like that, if I actually see what it is that you're seeing, then I'll have a better understanding of how to help you. And then once you're in your Google Docs, like you can change. This is where you can change where you want the text to be. So here, again, you can change the text here. If I want to hyperlink something or add a site when I click on this person's name, I would just click here, hyperlink, and then post the link for them to get it. So if I want them to go to YouTube, right? Do that. I would highlight this. I would do Control-C, copy, right? And then I would paste the link here, Control-V, apply. Now, do you see his name is now a different color and it's underlined? Because that means if I was to click his name, I would be able to open up.
Can you do that again, please?
Absolutely.
Hyperlink with the student's name?
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So that's the whole working from home thing going. Sorry. So that's a nice feature if you want students to go to a specific website or you want them to do a specific thing. Sometimes it's nicer than having to put the actual link on there, because I can easily put, say here, go to this website. But if you want to not add that there, or you want to make your document, look nicer, then the only thing you would have to do would be to highlight the name or names, right? In this case, it's the student's name. But let's say I wrote a word. I wanted them to go to, a Cryon website or ABC website. I would put even a picture. I can just highlight. I would click the insert link here. I would paste the link, Control-V, and I would apply. The same would go to if you were to insert a picture. Let's say I want to insert from the web. So let's say I have a picture of letters, right? I'm going to insert a picture. Okay. Because you want your students to go to a specific website. So let's see. So I would go to the website that I want them to go to, like I did here. I copy the website. I go back to the image. It's already, if I come off the image, it's not, I can't do anything. I would actually need to click the image, okay? And then you would click the insert link. I paste the link here and I apply, right? So if I was to click the image, it should take me to the website, and it's not. I don't know why. It's not letting me do it. Just give me a second. Oh, here it goes. Sorry. So when I click the image, it's going to take me to the link like that. So you can do that in like certain documents that you want the students, just like when I did the Google Chrome extensions, I just added the link on the word. So like that, it would be easier for you to just click the word and it would automatically take you to where it is that I wanted you to go. So you can do that with images or words. Okay. So remember when I said about pictures, like if I do this, click it once, I can just make an image smaller or bigger, right? Now, if I would actually want to cut the image, so here's my image. If I actually wanted to cut it, I would need to click the crop button or double click. So if I double click it, you'll see it comes up and I can actually crop the image. Let's say I only want these letters, right? And then I would hit enter and it crops the image like that. I can always remove a link. Let's say I chose not to do it. I can remove it and it'll no longer have the link just by clicking on the picture. So then you have your image options if you want to change the size, the text wrapping, that you would go there. So, I mean, it's a matter of like exploring the Google Docs, but for the basics on how to set up a Google Docs, that's all you would really need to know. I mean, you can also add borders around your image if you want to. You can put dots, you can do lines, you can change the color. That if you wanted to create an image with box. And then let's say you created an image and you want to duplicate it, you could do right click, hit copy, and then right click again and paste, and it'll create another image for you of the same. So especially if you want to create a document, if we're at school, like cut and paste activities, you can actually create your own cut and paste activities on the Google Docs. The same with Word. It's just like with, you can share a Microsoft Word document with your students on Google Classroom, just like you can do with your Google Drive. The one thing is, I learned the hard way when I was using Microsoft Word. I was always more comfortable with Word until one day I came back to work and I opened up my computer and all the documents that I had were gone, disappeared, my lesson plans, and I was devastated because I could no longer, they were able to do nothing for me And I didn't save it onto my U drive because I was like, oh, nothing's ever gonna happen. Boy, was I wrong. And sometimes you don't want to carry a USB around to save it on there. And the other thing that I've learned from being at home, saving stuff on your U drive like they always recommended doesn't work either, because we cannot access our U drive from home. So a lot of the documents that I had on there, I can't even access them from home. So I learned the hard way that it's either best to do it in a drive because I can access it from any computer anywhere in the world, right? Or to save it on a USB, because I had a couple of issues while we were home and I was not able to access any of my documents that I had saved in my U drive. So it's just another way of having your documents in a safe place without having the fear of losing something or not being able to access, especially if it's something really important. I mean, my recommendation to you is if it's something personal, I would never put it onto my work, Gmail account or my work Google Drive. If it's something personal, I would use my personal account to do personal stuff. But if it's work related, it's nice to just be able to access whatever document you have from anywhere without you really having to worry about, carrying a device. Yeah, so I lost everything. So I learned very, in a hard way that it's best to save in other ways than, because once I lost it, and that was it. Yeah, the U drive was a big problem during distance learning because you couldn't access it. And a lot of the times when this happened to me, people were like, oh, you should save everything on your U drive. And I'm like, yeah, it's great if you're at work, but if you are home, the U drive is useless. So this is why I like the Google feature, because of the fact that you're able to access it at any time from anywhere. But that's all I have about Google Docs today, unless you have any other questions or concerns.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
When I make edits on student work in Google Docs,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was in green,
Mm-hmm.
but when the students make the corrections and share or return the work to me,
Mm-hmm.
I no longer see the edits that I made. And unless I commented on what I did, I just want to be able to see my original edits on student work.
You would go to the version history. You could go to the version history and you can see any changes that were made to the document.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you go to the version history of any document, it will actually show you any revisions that were made and when they were being made.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So tomorrow's workshop will be on Google Slides, and then Thursday will be Google Forms. So I know that there was a teacher on here who was asking about embedding a timer onto Google Slides whenever you're presenting to the students. I actually figured out a neat way to do that without copying a link, and I'll show you that tomorrow. It's actually pretty cool because you can actually do a warm-up with your students and have a timer on there, and you can say, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to complete this warm-up, and the students have actual visual of the time that they have in order to complete the assignment. So it's just a cool feature that you can add whenever you do presentations through Google Slides. So tomorrow it's actually also a jam-packed day because there's a lot of things that you can do with Google Slides that you probably didn't know about. And I actually, when I was doing some research myself, because I went I wanted to help you guys out as far as the timer situation, and I did do some additional research on Google Slides and the various things that you can do with them. And there's actually a couple of neat things that I didn't know about myself and that I learned. So yes, Peer Deck. I won't talk specifically about Peer Deck tomorrow. I will mention it. I have to do a little bit more research about Peer Deck, but what I did learn about it, I actually have to look into it because I've never used it myself. But the little that I learned about it, it seems like it's a very cool feature on Google Slides. So I'll mention it tomorrow, but the main focus will be on Google Slides.
Sylvia,
Yes.
yeah, my name is Paulette Bachnight, and I had a question regarding the voice to text. Is that something that I would be able to use, say, to introduce the lesson verbally to the students, along with the fact that they would be able to read it?
Right.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah. I mean, like, because even like, and I'll talk about recording your voice, because like maybe if you have a digital classroom and like you want to do read alouds, you can actually save your read aloud and link it to the book so that the students, when they click on the book, they can actually listen to you read the story.
Okay.
So I'll talk about that in tomorrow's workshop. Somebody else had a question. Oh, could you please send the code for your classroom? Sure, Annette. So let me get you the code. For the Google Classroom. So here's the code, again, for anyone that has not joined. Okay, so Melissa, as far as the Google Chrome extensions, I'm not sure why they're not allowing you to do it. Like, I am actually using an NPS laptop. I'm using my work laptop, and I was able to add all of the Google Chrome extensions. I would reach out to ISD, and they will be able to change that feature for you. I actually talked to them about the initial video that I made for you guys, and they actually helped me. So they were very helpful. If you just send them an email, they will reach out to you. But you should be allowed to do the extensions, because I was able to do that on mine, and I'm actually using the work computer. They're open now. They actually have extended hours. So you can actually just send them an email and somebody will get back to you.
Hi, Sylvia. This is Ron. Quick question. I
Sure.
created like a short little Bitmoji video for the parents right before school was out, and I'm realizing that my visibility options probably were people and organization, because the next day I was flooded with all these emails. We need access, and I was just like, oh my gosh, forget it. I did it wrong.
Yeah, so you have to make sure that you do it as let them view it.
So if I went back and resent it, if I went back and changed it, would it automatically change, or I would have to send the link again, right?
You shouldn't. They should be able to use the same link.
But I would have to send the link again.
Yeah, just send the link again, because they might have lost it already by now.
I wasn't sure if it would just automatically pop up. Okay.
It won't automatically pop up. You would have to just let them know. The only time it notifies somebody is if you are doing it through an email.
Okay. No, I will be
Email, right? If you, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was sending the link to a class video. That's what I thought.
Yeah, so if you're sending it to Class Dojo, you can actually, just let them know, go back to the original link that I sent you. But they're probably like, oh, can you send it anyway? So I would send it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
Sylvia, I'm interested in tomorrow as far as the read aloud, so I hope we can go over that as far as the voice as to what that other individual was saying, that would really help me a lot. So I would appreciate that so much.
There's actually a couple of apps that actually will allow you to do the voice recording, and it saves it to your computer, and then I will show you how to add it to either a Google slide or link it to anything.
That's excellent, because in second grade, because that's where I'll be at second grade, I think that would really help with the students as well as the bilingual students.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So this is why I even like the voice typing feature, because sometimes, you know, especially if the kids are home now, the bilingual students, they're more, you know, they're afraid of sometimes saying the wrong thing or speaking. So this allows them to practice their speaking skills from home without being embarrassed to do that. So that it's a nice feature to do that.
And I think that's important, because the problem with a lot of the ELL students, they do get embarrassed. I try to do everything I can to encourage them. And I like that feature so they can do some practice.
Right, right. I agree. But that's all I have for today. If no one has any other questions, you're free to go. But I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. The slides will automatically post into the Google Classroom at noon. And once the recording is done, I will also post that as well into the Google Classroom for anyone that wants to go back and re-see it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Have a great
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Miss Pereira,
Yes.
Thank you.
one this is totally different. There's a new reading series that the Newark Public School purchased, which we started last school, well, last school year. HMH into literature.
Yes.
I would like to know if you have any idea whether or not that book will be uploaded to the Google Classroom, because they have their own program, but it would seem like a seamless transition if HMH would provide some sort of synchronicity where the reading textbook and all the various skills that are embedded in that program were uploaded over the summer to the Google Classroom, because it's very difficult to pull from that, from their text to the Google Classroom.
Yeah, I am not sure at all what they're doing as far as September comes. I don't really have an answer.
Is there any way you could, I know this is totally
yeah, I mean,
but I'm just trying to figure how, just in case we need to have that online teaching ability, to make sure that they're using the text, and there's so many skills that are embedded in that text, but in order to upload them, there's always a problem. While if the board figured out a way to link that HMH into their platform, it would be an easier method of teaching the students.
May I say something about HMH?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, this is Rafaelina Almonte. HMH is synchronized to Google Classroom. If you go to your right, where you see the three little dots, you can actually assign the specific lesson or the assignments that you want to assign to the student. In addition, I think in September, they are launching a distant learning classroom, because I'm been looking into it, and I see that they have already a lot of information. They also have PDs where you could go in and read, and there are some videos too, if you want to look into that. But it's a lot of information.
Well, thanks for that feedback. However, I have also uploaded lessons like you're saying, but there are many other things that are in HMH that I know are available, that when I use HMH by itself, those different things are available. But when it comes to the Google Classroom, I did not, well, maybe there's something else I should have done, but it did not go across that as seamless as I wanted it to be. I want it to be as seamless as it could be. I had to select the lesson, upload it to Google Classroom. It just didn't go over there that easily.
But you
So-
should be able, so I didn't use HMH because I was ESL, but I know that the ELA teacher would just assign, you can actually assign specific lessons to the students whenever you were on the platform.
In Google Classroom?
No, in HMH.
That's
And
what
they-
I'm saying. So I'm wondering how they could pull that whole program over from HMH into Google Classroom.
I'm sorry, it is synchronized. It is synchronized to Google Classroom. You only need to go where you see the 3 little dots. And
Which could you be more specific? Which three little dots? Where are they
have the
located?
option to share your screen. So if you want to show us how to do it, just click your share and you can actually show us if you don't mind.
okay, the only thing is that I delete my I archive my Google Classroom, but I'm gonna share, okay?
Well, you can just probably show us show her where to go.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to the lesson. Hold on. See these 3 little dots here?
Move your cursor. Oh,
Do you see the 3 little dots here? Hold on.
left side, right side of the screen. Could you be specific?
Like the 3
On the
little dots here?
The right side.
The
Oh,
right side?
right.
Mhm.
See here?
Yes.
When you go there, see the Google Classroom there?
Mhm.
And then you look for your Google Classroom. I already I archived my Google Classroom because my principal asked me to archive them, so I archived them. You select your Google Classroom and then you assign the lesson to the student there. It's
Okay.
already synchronized. You only need to look into it. It's already there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay?
And
Thank
then when
you.
you click that button, you should be able to choose what topic you want to put it under, or what class you want to be able to share it with.
So
Yeah.
are the tests, are the related tests at the end of each selection included
Yeah.
as well, and the language, all the
Yeah.
other skills related to it are all on that same platform?
Yes. Yes. But first you have to assign the test. The same way you assign the test, and then you have to assign them in the Google Classroom.
And does it also score the test for you as HMH would do? Does it do the calculations as well?
That I can really answer that question for you because I didn't assign tests. I only assigned reading assignment to the student. Once we went virtually, I only assigned reading assignments at the beginning. When the district started sending us the New York Times article, then we were doing the article. For the first 3 weeks, we were working on HMH, and then after that, we started working with the New CLA and the New York Times articles.
Okay, so I know I understand fully what you're saying, but with regard to the change in the curriculum over the distance learning period, I just wanted to know, but you said you didn't get a chance to give the test, so you're not aware of how that part works.
But remember, the HMH, they check the test for you, but then the writing part, you have to.
I know that. I know
You,
that. It's
yourself.
just that that's the part I'm saying. Does it do that in Google Classroom as well? Taking the multiple choice section of the test. You said you're unaware of that. You're not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for your help.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's it for today, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day and we were able to answer some of your questions.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks so
have a
much.
great day, everyone. Thank you.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.